A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a whirlwind trip across the Middle East, President Donald Trump has made headlines by securing massive investment deals, appearing to snub Israel, and delivering a pointed critique of neoconservative interventionists. Over the course of 3 days, Trump visited Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates, marking his first official trip of his second presidency following Pope Francis's funeral last month. The trip was characterized by Trump's visible enthusiasm as he engaged with Gulf leaders, criticized domestic political opponents, and emphasized a new, realist approach to U.S. foreign policy in the region. U.S. officials frequently described the trip as historic, highlighting the significant investments and diplomatic engagements that unfolded. At an investment summit in Riyadh, Trump articulated his vision for the Middle East, advocating for a non-interventionist stance where the United States refrains from meddling in the affairs of other nations. This marked a stark deviation from the approaches of previous administrations, particularly those led by neoconservatives who oversaw costly military engagements in Iraq and Afghanistan. Trump remarked, "This great transformation has not come from Western intervention or flying people in beautiful planes, giving you lectures on how to live and how to govern your own affairs." His comments were a clear rebuke to the so-called nation builders who have faced criticism for their failures in the region. In an unprecedented move, Trump did not include Israel in his itinerary, a decision that has raised eyebrows and sparked discussions about the changing dynamics of U.S.-Israel relations. The omission reflects a growing distance between the U.S. administration and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government. This trip coincided with several U.S. actions perceived as sidelining Israel, including ongoing negotiations with Iran and a ceasefire announcement with the Houthis in Yemen. Trump's failure to prioritize the establishment of formal diplomatic ties between Saudi Arabia and Israel, a key goal during his first term, suggests a shift in the U.S. perspective on Middle Eastern geopolitics. Experts are beginning to recognize that the U.S. is no longer viewing the Middle East solely through the lens of its relationship with Israel. Khaled El-Jandi, a visiting scholar at Georgetown University, remarked, "It does throw a wrench in the machinery because it is a president who is showing openly daylight with Israeli decision-making." As tensions persist, some advocates for Palestinian rights had hoped Trump's visit would lead to a renewed focus on peace efforts in Gaza. However, as Trump marveled at the opulence of the Gulf states, Israel intensified its military operations in Gaza, leading to fears of a humanitarian crisis. Trump's comments on Gaza also raised eyebrows, as he suggested a controversial idea of creating a freedom zone in the region, a proposal that critics argue could lead to ethnic cleansing. In a surprising announcement, Trump declared intentions to lift sanctions on Syria, a move that could significantly impact the country's economy as it emerges from a protracted civil war. This decision was made at the behest of Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and it signals a potential shift in U.S. policy towards Damascus. During his visit, Trump expressed a desire for a swift deal with Iran, stating, "We really want them to be a successful country," while emphasizing that they cannot possess nuclear weapons. Notably, he refrained from threats of military action against Iran, a departure from his previous rhetoric. The U.S. and Iranian officials have engaged in multiple rounds of talks, yet the exact terms of any potential agreement remain unclear. Trump's business acumen was on full display during his trip, as he announced substantial arms deals and investments from the Gulf states, reportedly totaling around $2 trillion. The White House framed these agreements as a significant political and economic victory for Trump, contrasting it with President Biden's slower pace in securing investments. Trump's affinity for opulence was evident as he was treated like royalty during his visit, complete with grand displays and lavish hospitality. In summary, Trump's Middle East tour has not only secured substantial investments for the U.S., but has also signaled a potential shift in the geopolitical landscape of the region. His departure from traditional U.S. foreign policy, particularly concerning Israel, raises questions about the future of U.S. involvement in Middle Eastern affairs and the broader implications for regional stability. As Trump returns to the White House, the world watches closely to see how these developments will unfold. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.